Welcome back, Shalligators. Today, we're talking about the Kardashians. Can you tell? Because I've got my Kardashian voice on. Where's my matcha latte? Respect my boundaries. We're talking about Keeping Up with the Kardashians ending after 20 seasons and 14 years. It is the end of an era. It is the end of just so many pairs of Spanx, honestly, and just a ton of contour. Just contour and hair extensions up the wazoo. We're not just going to talk about what may be going on behind the scenes here because I got some theories. We're going to talk about what we can learn from this. How do we leave a relationship, a town, a job, a friend group, a hairstyle that we have been locked into for so long and start a new chapter in our life? How do we navigate those feelings? Does feeling frightened mean it's the wrong thing? Does feeling overwhelmed, is that just part of the process? I'm going to give you 6, I think, concrete tips, a little roadmap for leaving one chapter and moving into the next one in a healthy and positive way so that you're not in constantly a state of grief over the past chapter or in a state of fear about the new one. It's easier than you think, trust me. But first, just want to remind you guys to follow me on Instagram. This is where you suggested the topic. I always let you guys suggest and weigh in, and then we vote, and it's democracy. And I'm also letting you guys weigh in on some topics about Paris Hilton. She's got a documentary coming up. It's out the 14th, but there's already so much information in the trailer that I think we could do a video just before on authenticity, leaving behind personas that no longer serve you. So go there and weigh in on that, and you can vote and all that good stuff. Let's see, other topics we've got this week. Brad Pitt's new new girlfriend, and the science of attraction, because she looks a lot like Angelina Jolie. Do we just kind of date the same person over and over? I'm also going to be breaking down Miley Cyrus's very bizarre Joe Rogan. I mean, I need to stop saying she's bizarre. She's simply her, which is bizarre for me, but just normal for her. Anyway, her Joe Rogan podcast appearance and why she's losing this breakup with Cody Simpson so fucking hard. She's losing it so hard. Speaking of losing breakups hard, we just did a video on Cara Delevingne dating Halsey after their exes, Ashley Benson and G-Eazy, coupled up. Psycho. They look so clowny. I'll tell you how to one-up an ex without looking like a disaster and a mess. And be sure to head over to InthStream to follow me over there. It's uncensored, ad-free, where we can talk about things that are a little bit more intimate and spicy than YouTube will allow. We've got some dirty talk tutorials, blowjob tutorials, and I just put up a story time that's really, really intimate about my first breakup here in Montana, like my first heartbreak and what it was like to break up. Ugh, it was not great. There were a few breakups. There was a few, like literally in a 24-hour period. And dating in a small town. All these things I didn't expect. Ugh. But let's talk about girls in a big town. Let's talk about big butts in a big town. Let's talk about the Kardashians. I like the Kardashians. I always have. I think they're entertaining. And they're kind of like Paris Hilton to me. It's like, you can't knock the hustle. These girls turn blowjobs into billions of dollars. I haven't even turned most of my blowjobs into relationships, let alone a big ass career and a paycheck. So you can't knock the hustle. And people, they just get so gassed up about, like, they're so stupid. Fuck them. Why? Because you're jealous? I mean, let's be honest, you know, because they're hot and they're rich and they don't seem that smart. They are. They are smart. If they've, like I said, turned some BJs into this empire, they have no talent. Okay, isn't it even more impressive what they've built? Dude, that's crazy. The fact that these women, from Paris to the K's, endure the ridicule that they do and they just keep going, try it. Fucking try it. I'm more on their side than I am on, like, the anonymous, you know, corporate job site. I have so much respect for these people. That what we do is not easy. And I do like a ton of baby fraction of what they do. I can't imagine living their lives and living their reality. But speaking of reality, looks like they're tired of living it too, at least the reality show. So Kim and company put out a statement. I won't even read it. It's boring. Like, with a heavy heart, we announced thank you to the crew. I don't fucking care. It's like an Oscar acceptance speech. You're like, ugh, wrap it up. So they're moving on from this. And I've got some theories about why. I feel like all of their lives are shifting, and not all of them in a good way. I think Kim does not want to show Kanye's mental collapse on camera? You know? Who wants to showcase your mentally ill husband's psychotic break and talk about that and be diplomatic about it? I mean, dealing with it is enough. And 4 little babies, let alone like packaging it in something pretty and palatable and open yourself up to that ridicule. Like, I get it. I don't think Khloe, well, you know what I'm going to say, wants to admit on camera that she's back together with fucking third trimester Thompson, back with Tristan. They are completely back on, if they were ever really off to begin with. We've done several videos on them. I just hate him because she's so smart and she's so funny and she seems so self-aware. And this is what we always say about her. You see her on camera and you're like, yes, like Khloe gets it. And then you look at how she lives and you're just like, she's all of us at our worst. Like, not at our worst, but you know what I mean? When we're like, when we know better, but we just cannot break the chains of these awful situations. But we're going to talk about exactly that in this video. I think Kylie just literally ran out of words that she knows. I mean, I know you're like, oh, you're just dogging her. It's not that she's dumb. It's that she's boring. She is so boring. I didn't like watch the show back in the day, but a lot of you guys say it's like she used to be so funny. She used to have such a cool personality and she's like kind of like emo and edgy. And now she's just like, Stassi, Jordan. And it's true. You watch her and it's like you almost fall asleep. It's like, I can't tell you one trait that Kylie has, right? Like Kourtney is sassy and Khloe is really like witty and Kim is like cutting and clever. And Kylie is just kind of there. So maybe she's just sort of maxed out her capacity to be on camera. Kendall wants nothing to do with it. It seems like the whole family is kind of spinning in their own directions and moving into their own new chapters. And one of you guys said, you're like, wow, this is proof that Kourtney carried that show. Because after she quit, it's like, and she did. Like, she's got all the kids. She's got the whole drama with Scott. Like, there was a lot going on there. So I don't know. I'm sad to see the show go. I've told you guys before, I watch it when I'm doing my makeup and then I get on The Voice. I find myself getting The Voice on. I am from Southern California. I'm from about an hour from where they're from in Newport Beach. And this is how we talk. And I go home and I talk like this again. And I feel like I'm my authentic self. Matcha latte. Anyway, let's talk about what we can learn from this. Because even if we don't have a reality show that's been on the better part of 2 decades, we probably have something in our life that has been just this huge part of it. Like I said, from a job to a schooling situation to a relationship, whatever it might be. And for 99% of us, there always comes a time when we got to move on. A chapter ends and a new chapter must begin. And I remember when I graduated from college and it was the worst 2 years of your life. Like, it really is. The year after you graduate is the worst year of your life because it is such a shift. It's like you were birthed out. It's like I felt like I was reborn and not in a good way. I feel like I just came through the birth canal and I'm in this new world and I'm like, I didn't ask to be here. All I had known was school, right? That's all we knew. We knew the cycle of like summer break and winter break and classes start and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's all we knew. And suddenly it's just like get out there, just, I don't know, be an adult, be a person. And you're like, how the fuck do I do? I don't want to do that. And there's a huge emotional struggle. There's a huge identity shift and not just identity, logistical shift. Like, it's one thing if you leave a job and go to another job, it's still a job. You're still used to the 9-to-5 pace. You're still used to the meetings and whatever. You graduate and you're just like, I have no idea what my place is in the world. Same when you get out of a long-term relationship. If you've been married, look, if you've been in a relationship more than 2 years, you're basically married. You know, and certainly if you live together and somebody moves out, it's a divorce. It doesn't matter if there's no lawyers involved. Emotionally, it is such a cataclysmic shift from what you're used to. It's like a meteor hit your life. But there's things we can do to navigate through all of these things. And the first thing I want you to accept is that nobody likes change. I mean, we do to a degree. There's something called chaos tolerance, right? And we each have our own sort of threshold of chaos tolerance. I personally have a very high chaos tolerance. Part of it is living in New York. You simply have to roll with the punches. I've changed in Ubers. I've changed in elevators. You know, I've booked a flight the day of. I've thought I was going to a party and shifted and gone to the airport. Like, my life, and not just because I lived in New York, but because of my lifestyle in media and doing that whole thing, like I really had to become so much more elastic in terms of what I could handle. And I have a very, very high chaos tolerance when I'm traveling, which is why I like to travel. It's sort of when like that elastic gets pulled a little more and I'm like, ooh, I'm growing. That's why I love travel. I feel like I'm growing. You know, I'm speaking a language that maybe I'm not great at, but I'm trying. I'm eating foods that I actually don't know what this is. Are these chicken feet? I'm trying, you know? I'm navigating a subway system I don't know. And it makes me, when I travel and when I would do that, it would just like break me open in a good way and I'd grow a little bit. And then I would come back to my real life and be a little bit braver, a little bit stronger, and a little bit more appreciative of stability. Because like I said, most people don't like change. From a biological, evolutionary point of view, change is not good. Change very rarely is positive. You know, if you think about this from like a caveman standpoint, change means the weather isn't good. Change means there's a plague, there's locusts, the fires went out, there's a war, whatever it might be. Change is usually a very disruptive thing. Now, we live in a more modern society. We have a lot more personal power and agency and safety. So for the most part, our change that we encounter, hopefully, is self-created. But you know what? Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's you graduate. Like, dude, you can't stay here anymore. You got your degree. You need to leave. Sometimes it's your partner leaving you, your boss firing you, your parents getting divorced. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter whether or not change is up to you or it isn't. No, I am going to say that. It doesn't matter because it's here anyway. It's here anyway. And we can focus on the why. Why is this happening to me? And I didn't ask for this. Honey, join the fucking club. Whatever you think is befallen you, there's some people out there who have it worse. They live in refugee camps, right? They've had like limbs blown off by landmines. We're all okay. We're doing okay. We can roll with these punches. And if we entrench ourselves in that, we entrench ourselves in the victim narrative. And nobody on this channel is a victim. No one on this channel is a victim. I'm not a victim. And you don't gravitate towards me because I am. You're not a victim either. We are all the masters and commanders of our destiny. Even if, no, it's my parents are divorcing. Even if, well, wait, I got fired. It doesn't matter. Life isn't about what happens to you. It's how we react to it. And so here is the map for embracing these new chapters, even if the ending of the previous chapter wasn't up to you, right? Because that's life. And if we only tell ourselves that we're going to have positive skills and healthy coping mechanisms when I decide, that's, what is the saying? Make a plan and God laughs. Most changes in your life might not be 100% in control of you. And I've said this before, I prefer to be dumped than be the dumper. I prefer to be the dumpy than the dumper, because if I'm the one doing the dumping, I'm like, oh, this is the right decision. I don't know. I agonize about it, and I regret it and blah, blah, blah. When I get dumped, I'm like, hey, man, this just fucking happened to me. I guess got no choice but to roll on. Like, there's at least an absence of rumination. You know, did I make the right choice? Did I do this right? When it happened, you're just like, well, gotta just make it work. So look at it from that point of view. Okay, you got laid off. Now you have no choice but to step into your future. I've been laid off. I've had long-term relationships end. I've been divorced. I've had to leave the places that I've lived and known and everything that I thought was true about myself and my reality, my mythology as I had created it. So this is step one. Erase your own mythology, right? Or you have a certain mythology about yourself. I'm the editor of a magazine in New York City. That's my mythology. Well, every myth ends, doesn't it? There's stories, and stories have an end. Okay, that was mythology one. That was mythology from years 2010 to 2019, or whatever it was, right? And now we're starting a new story. But that all seems really easy, right? Oh, we're just starting a new story. Here's what you do. First of all, I want you to normalize your reactions. Normalize your growing pains. There is nothing that impedes our growth more than when we tell ourselves we shouldn't be feeling how we're feeling. When we apply this story to our emotions, there is grief and then there's pain. Grief is natural. Grief is what's happening to you. You're feeling it. You've lost something. Pain is the story you have applied to that grief. I shouldn't be feeling like this. I got fired because I'm stupid. No one's ever going to love me again. I can't leave this small town. I'll never make friends again. That's pain. Grief is ineffable. Pain isn't. Suffering is another word for that. Grief and suffering. So normalize how you're feeling. Whatever you feel is okay. Because when we put up those walls, no, I shouldn't feel like this. I shouldn't feel like this. All right. What do we always say? The psyche's going to be hurt. And she'll do it the easy way. Hey, I'm freaking the fuck out up here. Or she can do it the hard way. And she can just keep ramming you until, wait, you're drinking a little too much. Wait, you're picking fights with your boyfriend. Wait, you're freaking out at work and spiraling. Maybe you just should have listened to her in the first place. Because when you do, when you address that psychological splinter, just like a real splinter, you pull it out, it hurts for a minute, but then you start to heal. You start to process things. So whatever you're feeling, write it down. This is going to be a video a lot about lists. You know I love a good list because it helps me make sense of how I feel and it helps me look at what's true and what isn't. And not like I should feel stupid for how I feel, but if I can look at a list and be like, I really think I'm never going to make friends again. Is that realistic? No. That's the fear-based brain talking. That's the Snooki brain, right? We have the two different brains. We have the Oprah brain, which is our intuition. It's quiet and calm. And then we have the hysterical Snooki brain, right? Who's just screaming at us from a place of fear and lack and panic. And we can't listen to that bitch. We got to try to drive her out because she's loud. And we have to really tune in to the Oprah brain. Step number 2, grieve. We just talked about grief. Grief versus suffering. Grieve what you're losing because you are losing something. That's okay. That's okay. It doesn't mean you're losing everything. It doesn't mean you're not going to replace these things you've lost with better things, better situations, better, more authentic people, experiences, emotions. But you are losing something. And one thing we tend to do as people is to devalue a person, a thing, a situation, whatever, to devalue the loss. And if you watch my Instagram video about the breakup I went through, I literally said that to the guy we were breaking up. Because he was basically like gaslighting me and telling me, you just need too much and I can't give you what you need. And I said, listen, you can say I can't give you what you need. Don't tell me what I need is so over the top. Don't act like I'm crazy. I'm not. Don't act like I just have sky high needs. I don't. You know why I don't? Because my life is awesome. I got friends. I got this awesome career. I got a puppy with a speckled tummy. I'm good, boo. Like, I'm good. You're a compliment. You're not a completion to my life, you know? So don't say that to me. And I specifically said to him, you're devaluing me to devalue the loss of this relationship. I don't fucking think so. And that's natural because it helps us process things, but don't fucking process me that way. Okay. You do that on your own in private. Don't serve that up to me. We're all stuck up. But we do that. It's like, I hated college anyway. You know, I hated that job. I hated that person. A little of that goes a very long way. We need like an eyedropper full of that, not a gallon. Okay. Just a little bit of like, you know what? Maybe that town was too small for me all along. Ugh, do I really just want to hang around the Quick Stop again every Friday night? No, I'm going to San Francisco and I'm going to make a whole new life for myself. Okay. But I think we have a tendency to throw out the baby with the bathwater, as they say. Like, we become extreme, you know, because to acknowledge, and this is how it goes in breakups. If we say, hey, no, Shallon was actually awesome most of the time, but I couldn't give her what she needs, or I'm not at the same place she's at, or the things that were wrong with her were deal breakers. Were my blowjobs too good? I don't know. It becomes this gray area. It becomes shades of gray. And we as humans, we don't like gray. We like black or white. That's bad, that's good. this is slutty, this is a virgin. Like, you know, like, especially men. Men are so like that. Oh, she's the girlfriend type or she's the hoe. Bitch, you're the hoe. So we have a tough time processing things when we do feel those shades of gray. But don't shy away from them and acknowledge that's what's going on. Hey, I'm making this experience shades of gray, and I'm trying to devalue the loss of college and cut off all my college friends and take down all my posters and rip up my sorority shirts because I'm just so scared about moving forward. When you give a name to it, you take the power away. When you acknowledge that's what's going on, you're like, I don't need to do that. I don't need to throw out all my pictures from college. I don't need to like trash my diploma. Like I'm like, that sounds extreme and silly, and I'm neither extreme nor am I silly. Tip number 3. Think of past victories. I don't care if you lived in the same town your whole life, if you worked at Dairy Queen since you were 14, if you had the same group of friends since you were 8, you have overcome things. You have faced new things that were scary, and you did it. Maybe the last time was in 5th grade when you tried out for volleyball or decided to play the flute, but you still did it. You wouldn't be here, and you certainly would not be on this channel if you were not a resilient person, right? I want you to make an emotional resume. We're very good at taking stock of our career achievements, right? Like we're supposed to, we take classes on it, it's all over fucking LinkedIn. What about our emotional resume? What's on our emotional resume? What jobs have we applied to? What emotional jobs have we had? Where have we thrived? What was an emotional promotion that you once got? Oh, I met this girl at summer camp and now we're best friends and we see each other all the time. And I'm there for her and she's there for me. That's an emotional promotion. My dad was going through something really rough and I really stepped up and helped raise my sister. Emotional promotion. I really didn't think I was going to make the soccer team, and I didn't the first year, but I tried out and then I went back and I practiced and I did make it again. Emotional promotion. Take stock of everything you've done in your life that has led you here, because you are not a victim. You are a champion. And champions, you know what every sports champion has in their house? A wall of trophies. They're not shy about showing off everything they've achieved because it's physical. We're like, look, this is my Super Bowl LaCroix. It's my Super Bowl LaCroix. Why aren't we doing that emotionally? Write these things down, hang them around your room. It's supposed to give you this little springboard from when you're in a bad place, spiraling, stressing, I'm not going to do well in this new town, into something better and more positive. Now I want you to latch on to something. Latch on to hope, right? Oh man, when I was getting divorced, it was awful. And I've said before, every nightmare I had about what I was going to lose and the hardships that were going to befall me, they all happened. They all happened. They weren't Snooki brain. They were real. From financial fallout to having to move and leave my stuff to my status as a wife to the thoughts I had about my future, it all came to pass. And I got through it because I latched on to hope. What does that mean? Hope. It's all very like vague and live, laugh, love. I latched on to very specific tiny things. And do you know what one of them was? Hand soap. I latched on to hand soap because I don't like to compromise. I'm an only child. I don't love to share. It's kind of my way or the highway. Maybe that fueled the divorce. Anyway, like I really like my space and to beautify my space and not have to ask people, well, do you like this painting? Are these pillows okay? No, I just want to have my stuff the way I want it. Okay? I have excellent taste. And I was like, when I have my own place, even though it's going to be small, even though it's not going to be a penthouse in Midtown anymore, I'm going to have exactly the hand soap I want. It's going to be from Bed Bath and motherfucking Beyond. No, Bath and Body Works. And it's going to be pumpkin spice as fuck. Okay? And then I'm going to have a gingerbread scented one in the bathroom. And you know who can stop me? Nobody. And I was thinking about this hand soap and then hand towels and then bath towels and then sheets and then posters on the wall. Well, not posters, pictures. Like my Bob Marley poster. Can you imagine if I did a house tour and it's like, and here's my poster of Jim Belushi in his shirt that says college. Whoa, okay. We were having some technical difficulties. The sound system has been an absolute garbage fire this week. So the sound on the rest of that video was warped. So I'm re-recording it. I even put on the same shirt to try to keep up with the continuity. Do you get that that's a Kardashian reference? Do you get it? Real quick though, some things have developed about the Kardashians. Kris Jenner has opened up about, like, you know, canceling the show, and there's also 2 more seasons. Like, this isn't happening now. I think maybe they just needed some like hype before the new season comes out. You know how they do. Nothing's an accident with Kris. And it's funny, she was describing it, and she was describing like kind of the aftermath of the announcement, and she said that she was sitting in the gym, okay, with Kim and Khloe at 5 a.m. Dude, get some rest, ladies. And they were all looking at each other, and like the gravity of it was hitting them. It was this feeling of, holy shit, what have we done? And I found that so interesting because so much of the time we think that starting a new chapter is going to be easy for everybody but us. Okay, well, she can go away to the East Coast for school because X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, no shit, she quit her job. She's got a trust fund. Fear is fear. And fear happens to the rich, to the poor, to the fat, to the thin, to the Kardashians, to the unverified. It happens to us all. The Kardashians are going to be fine. They're not going to be out in the street, but they are still dealing with a huge life shift. And that to me just underscores how universal this fear is. So if this is what you're going through, it's totally fine. But what were we talking about? Coping mechanisms. What you need to cope. Figure out a list of healthy coping mechanisms. When I'm dealing with Cowboy, my dog, or just anything, and I'm like, I can't do this, I'm freaking out, I can't take things one step at a time, I'm like, okay, what is going to make me feel better in this moment that's healthy? Because sometimes what's going to make us feel better is screaming, punching someone in the face, ramming our car into our ex-boyfriend's garage, things of that nature, or eating an entire cake, opening that bottle of wine and just taking a straw and going for it. So it's important to come up with some healthy coping mechanisms outside of the storm. We've talked about storm communication before. It's kind of what I call it when we're in the middle of a storm and we're trying to like find our footing in real time. That's not healthy. Forewarned is forearmed. And I'm a big planner aheader. Sure. And so I came up with a list of like coping mechanisms before I get into terrible situations. Like, I would travel a lot. And so being at the airport, if a flight's canceled, if I can't find my bag, if I don't like my seat, if I'm uncomfortable, okay. What are my coping mechanisms? Maybe a playlist. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to get the goddamn Frappuccino at Starbucks. I just need something that's a treat, a bit of a luxury. Okay, that's fine. Maybe I'm going to go to that little minute spa and they're going to give me a little 10-minute massage. Okay. Same with whatever new chapter you're stepping into. Try to anticipate the things they're going to set you off. Maybe you're moving to a new place and you're like, I don't know that I'm going to make friends. Okay. If that's the case, have like your best friend from home kind of be on call and be like, look, if I text you like this certain emoji, if I text you like a gorilla emoji, it's 911 and I need you to get on the phone with me for like 5 minutes and just be like, you was good, you was kind, you was important. You know, just give me a little bit of a pep talk, give me that love, or I'm going to go for a run because that always makes me feel better. Or I'm going to text 3 new people that I haven't really hung out with and invite them to coffee. Let's have a plan beforehand, right? Or if nothing else, go back to your hand soap moment. If it doesn't have to be like an IRL coping things like a Frappuccino or whatever, it can just be like, you know what? I'm getting through this because I am picturing that bottle of gingerbread hand soap. I can smell it. Or I am picturing getting on that scale and hitting my goal weight. So I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to this Zumba class. I'm going to do it. Have these things as touchstones. This is where vision boarding comes in really, really handy. This is why we make vision boards, because sometimes our mind can't get us there. So we need something physical to be like, I see you, beautiful house. Okay, I'm not going to order all those gingerbread scented hand soaps online. I'm going to save my money. And that's okay. We don't have to have it all figured out, and we don't have to be bulletproof and 10 feet tall, but we do have to come up with some ways to kind of like head these spirals off at the pass. The next point. Now, hear me out on this one. Assume the worst. Shallon, what are you talking about? Assume the worst? It's not what we do here about positivity. I know. I want your goals to underpromise and overdeliver. What does this mean? When I say assume the worst, I don't want you to veer into being negative. This is going to be terrible. I'm going to fail. Everyone's going to laugh at me. This is the phrase. This is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a growth opportunity for me. But oh, wait. There was that YouTuber, Shallon Lester, with the pretty hair and the perky tits, and she told me to make that emotional resume, and I did. I listened to her blindly because she's the smartest woman on earth. And so now, challenges, the word challenge doesn't frighten me because I have a list taped up around my room of all the other challenges I've encountered. I recently went through a huge life shift. I moved from New York City, where I have lived since I graduated, to Montana. I live in the country. I can see cows from my window. I can see them from the window. They all like come in close to the pasture, to our fence line. It's like happy hour for them. I don't know why. They're just like, hey, you guys, you want 2-for-1 skinny margarita or what? What's going on? Maybe some lamb kebabs? They're fun. But moving here was huge. And for the most part, it was my choice, but it was fueled by things that weren't my choice, like a breakup with someone I loved, like quarantine and the pandemic and all that shit going down in New York City. And you know what? That is mostly life. I was just talking to my best friend about this. Like, very few of us make huge, crazy, sweeping life changes completely on our own. You know, and that was what was difficult about picking someplace to move, is I'm like, no one just like throws a dart at a map. They either have a job, a family member, a friend, a boyfriend that pushes them in some direction or the other to go to Wichita or Monaco or wherever it is. I didn't have any of that. I worked for myself. I was single as a Pringle. All my friends were in New York or LA, and like I didn't want to be either place. And I did kind of just pick Montana. I came here only intending to stay for a little while, but I loved it and I let my heart kind of guide me. And I am fortunate enough that I have an elastic career that I can do that. But that was just one box that was checked, right? It's like, okay, well, my career's not an issue, but I don't have friends here. I don't have a boyfriend here. I don't have a car here. Like, I don't know. I haven't had a car since I was in basically college. Like, I don't know how to deal with winters like this. I don't own any guns and everybody else does. I got to get some. There were a lot of other things. And my therapist was like, okay, I want you to assume the worst. I was like, what? What do you mean? He's like, just like I said to you, I want this to under-deliver, under-promise and over-deliver. Because I want you to tell yourself, this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be a big old challenge. Because then, every day that you get through that doesn't end in tears, this is actually really fun and interesting and cool, and I feel passionate and alive and curious, it's going to over-deliver. When we tell ourselves, all I want is just to get into Princeton and nothing will ever bother me again. That's all I just want to get into Princeton. If I can just make this boy love me, if we can just be boyfriend, girlfriend, I swear to God, I will never ask for anything else. I will never ask for anything else. I will be so happy and I will deal with whatever problem comes. If I can just lose these 15 pounds, I cannot possibly imagine what I would ever be upset about for the rest of my life. That's an overpromise. And when we overpromise to ourselves, or we put an overpromise situation onto a goal or a new chapter, we're destined for disappointment. Happiness, there's been so many books written on like actually the science of happiness and what happiness is, and more specifically what it isn't. We're kind of trained to think happiness is this like Adderallian ride that we're just like, this cocaine-ish high that we're just like careening through life wide-eyed and agog with just incandescent bliss. It is not like that. My grandfather, the most famous modern Italian author, Cesare Pavese, he has a quote that's very famous. We do not remember days, we remember moments. And it's so true. God, he's wise. It's so true. Like, happiness is moments. It's peaks, it's spikes. And what it is in a larger sense, really, is gratitude. That is the foundation of happiness. And I know that sounds very live, laugh, love, but it is true. Gratitude turns what you have into enough. That's what gratitude does. So if you can go into a situation being like, you know what? Law school is going to be really hard. Oh, I have to sneeze. Oh, no. No. Law school is going to be hard. And there's going to be days when I'm like, what the fuck have I done? What have I done? Moving to this new town is going to be hard. And there's going to be bad days. There's going to be days when I don't want to live in a house this big. And I don't want to have to remember to change the oil in my truck because I'm not used to having to do this. That's okay. If we can cultivate gratitude around that, and this is truly our life's work, is to cultivate gratitude around things that suck, around the bad times. Everyone can be grateful when things are good. It's like you only pray when you need something. A lot of us don't pray when we're just saying, hey, thanks. Thanks, Hera. Thanks, Athena. Thanks, Zeus. Thanks, Buddha. Thanks, JC. Love ya. We're like, I need this. Give it to me. We're like little kids begging our parents for something, right? So if we can cultivate that gratitude, okay, I bet I'm going to encounter some really hard days in law school. There's going to be days when I don't understand what's going on. I'm failing the midterms. I don't think I'm going to be able to pass the bar. I'm going to feel grateful that I have my best friend Becca in my life, who did go to law school, and she's going to be there to lift me up, okay? I'm going to be grateful that I was smart enough to get into law school in the first place, and I'm going to go back to that emotional resume and be like, okay, I passed the LSAT. Is that what it is? Yeah. I got into this school. I'm doing it. I'm doing it one step at a time. Okay. It's not big gratitude. Maybe it's just little gratitude. Maybe it's silly gratitude. I'm grateful that I'm healthy. That's not silly to be grateful for your health. Health is wealth. Okay. I'm grateful that I get to live in this city. I'm grateful that I can afford my books. Find those silver linings. As like cheesy as it sounds, it is the foundation of advancement, right? I want to talk to you about Nike. Yes, the shoe brand. I'm not like a shoe person, obviously, but I always remember their slogan. It was from a long time ago, and it was impossible is nothing. They had a whole ad campaign, impossible is nothing, impossible is nothing. And they had all these athletes like Michael Jordan and Shaq and whatever doing the impossible. Impossible is nothing. And it stuck with me. I love a good tight motivational phrase. I love it. The word economy there is incredible. But I realized that, yeah, impossible is nothing. I know what my emotional resume is. And when I look at everything that I've achieved in my life, it was all impossible. Let's start with just how I grew up. I grew up an only child of a single mom in a very affluent town where everybody had two parents. Nobody had like a murky history with their father. I was supposed to be pregnant at 15. On paper, that's what people forecasted for me. What was I? I was student council president. I was prom queen. Impossible was nothing. Then I went away to a school that was very hard to get into. And I started the sex column at our college. Impossible. That's not going to fly here. Impossible is nothing. Oh, you think you're just going to move to New York City and what, get a book deal? You know one person in that city. I did it in 9 months. Impossible is nothing. Of all the people MTV was connected to and could have a show about, did they do one about me? That's right. Oh, you're just going to become a YouTuber. Everyone wants to be a YouTuber. Honey, everyone's not me. Impossible is nothing. And I've latched onto this as my own personal phrase. And yeah, I know that veers into braggy, hubris territory. So fucking what? It's not untrue. Show me the lie. Show me the lie about what I have done, about what I have become, about the odds I have overcame. And you know why I'm saying this? You've done the same thing. Impossible is nothing for you also. Do that emotional resume and prove it to yourself. And the last point we're going to get into, be patient. Be patient with yourself. Expect those highs and lows. That goes back to like, assume the worst. Expect the highs and lows. Don't tell yourself that when I get blank, whether that's a goal weight, a boyfriend, a new town, whatever it is, all of my problems are going to disappear. No, they're not. They're going to shift. When we're unemployed, right? We acknowledge that once we get a job, it's going to be the absence of certain problems, but like the influx of new ones. Okay, we might not have to worry about money now anymore, but our schedule is going to be different. We're not going to hang out with our friends as much. We're going to maybe hate our boss. Our coworkers are going to be annoying. We don't see that as like a perfect end to a situation. We can't look at any starting of a new chapter the same way. As soon as I get my law degree, everyone will love me. As soon as I get a boyfriend, I'm never going to stress about my body again. Expect these highs and lows and be patient. Feel what you feel. That goes back to point number 1. Normalize your emotions. Don't tell yourself that what you feel is stupid or crazy or whatever. Stepping into these new challenges is the thing that creates a warm-blooded animal. We build self-esteem by proving to ourselves we can overcome a challenge. And overcoming, I want you to really, really remember this. Overcoming does not mean it was a glittering perfect success. If anything, overcoming means it was a bit of a disaster. It was a bit of a disaster. Maybe I did hate the town I moved to. Maybe I hated my new job. Maybe I did get my heart broken. Maybe I failed out of law school. Are you still here though? Do you still exist? Are you still just as smart, just as empathetic? You have friends? I'm sure they didn't abandon you. Okay. So now this isn't a victim story. Now this is a champion story. It's a champion story whether or not you did get that book deal or thrive in Montana. And it's a champion story if you didn't, because you learned something and you picked yourself back up. You're like, okay, we've got some new data points. I don't like it in a small town. Okay, we've got some new data points. The Ivy League isn't for me. Okay, that's fine. Life is all about data. It's all about correcting and micro-correcting and macro-correcting until we find that alignment. And we're like, ooh, yes, this is where I want to live. Ooh, yes. Not too small of a town, not too big of a town. Ooh, I want to have this kind of schedule, not that one. I like to go out 2 nights a week, not 4. Okay, we're in alignment. When we can face these challenges, we prove to ourselves that really impossible is nothing. So walk confidently into these new chapters. They're not going to be perfect. They're not going to be always easy, but they are going, like I said, no matter which way they turn out, to imbue you with a sense of, I'm still here. I am actually bulletproof. Something might not go my way. That doesn't mean it defeats me. I am stronger than the things that come against me. We are the children of the Most High God. We are shalligators. We are the perky-titted young women and men of the world. We got this. For more, click like and subscribe. We're going to be doing some more videos this week. Why do I say this? This is my job. Of course we're going to be doing more videos. No shit. But I'll see you later, shalligators. Mwah!